Alright, so I want to give a shout out real fast, of course, to the man who posted this. We absolutely love Dan on this channel. A great person, a great man. Radio voice of Cincinnati Bengals and the University of Cincinnati Bearcats for football and basketball. IGM at IGM College audio use reserved. Shout out to him. Shout out to going ahead and posting this. Another amazing person in the Who Dey Nation community. But we have 5 observations from the Cincinnati Bengals training camp. Sam Hubbard said, I know what observation number 1 is. You're correct, Sam. Joe Burrow is back at practice. That's right, guys. He was back at practice today. He was throwing the football. It was him, Will Grier, who is the brand new guy, Jake Browning, were all throwing the football back at practice today. And to be honest, they looked freaking amazing. And especially Joe Burrow, of course, first time back since his calf injury. He was actually moving around the pocket, throwing some passes. Again, like I said, is one of 2, processes left before game week. I'm so happy. I am so happy he is back. I am ready for this season. I am ready to see this man. Who dey, guys? Who dey? All right. Number 2. Good to see Stanley Morgan was among the veterans who was elected to stay with the team on the practice squad. Keep in mind that a player can be activated from a practice squad to active roster up to 3 times per season. Could be a huge factor in week 1 on special teams. And just a side note here, I do want to bring this up for anyone who did miss it. This is our practice squad going into this year. We have 2 spots left on the practice squad. 14 of them have been filled up. There's 16 spots total. Those spots are Jackson Kirkland, Sidney Jones, Stanley Morgan, Dom Davis, Nate Gilliam, Michael Thomas, Cedric Jackson, Alan George, Will Grier, Tyler Murray, Kwame, Jeff Gunner, Tanner Hudson, and Shaka Hayward. Those are the players that were actually at camp today. And 14 of them are on the practice squad. Keep in mind that there's 16 total spots. So 2 spots are left, and Raymond Johnson III has still not been claimed by anybody. So it's possible we bring him back on our practice squad. Just a little side note there. But here is, of course, Stanley Morgan back catching some passes here. You got Yoshi right there catching some passes. And love to see him back again. Very surprised they end up cutting Stanley Morgan, mainly because of his special teams presence. He's amazing on special teams, right? And it's one of those situations where it's like, I don't know 100%, but again, you got to cut down the 53-man roster. As Coach said, it's not easy. And all these decisions, every single one is very difficult. This is the most athletic and probably one of the best rosters we have ever had in Who Dey Nation. So because of that, it is what it is. You got to cut down some guys, and they chose to keep more offensive line depth than they did receiver depth, which, to be honest, does really make sense. I mean, I know someone commented down below, and it actually was a good point, that, like, at the end of the day, you want to have more offensive line guys that can start and play than receivers, because obviously our receiving core is fine. But here's the problem, though, and it really comes down to, again, with Trey Hill being a shocking player we kept, is that you also want to look at the fact of offensive line players who you are confident can come in the game and be very successful and help you out a lot. And that's someone like Trey Hill, where he's not really a guy I would say I'm very confident he can come in and help us win a game if we have to rely on him. But again, it's one of those situations where Max but he was playing a lot of center in preseason, and he just isn't there yet to be our, reliable number 2 center if we need him to be. So that's another thing that, going on. All right, next thing, Trevion Williams appears to be fully recovered from his ankle injury, and we'll be interested to see who emerges as the number 2 running back behind Joe Mixon in the season opener. My guess is it's going to probably be, again, season opener here, Joe Mixon number 1. My guess number 2 is going to be Chris Evans, based on what we've seen from training camp and preseason. And then number 3, I'm going to guess is going to be a mix of Trevion and Chase Brown. I don't think they're going to throw Chase Brown out there to the Wolves right away. I think that they've seen a lot what they like from him in preseason so far. But what I think they're going to do here is they're going to, because again, keep in mind, in preseason, they used him a lot as a blocker, right? He was a lot of times used as strictly a blocker in preseason. He actually had more blocking snaps than anyone else in the NFL in preseason. So it's very clear that, Cincinnati, they're trying to show, hey, listen, this is our third down guy. This is our pass blocker. This is our check down option, right? And we saw a lot of screen passes in preseason. So it's not surprising at all that, going to regular season, it's going to be him and Travion as pass blockers. Travion is another guy who, again, needs to work on his pass blocking. We'll see how that works out. The only thing I will say, though, going into preseason is Chris Evans was the one who went with the rookies to Fort Knox, and actually did the dog challenge where the dog chases you while you're wearing the vest and it slams you to the ground. And the reason why he did that, he said, was because he wanted to work on his pass blocking, and that helps you with your pass blocking. So that's the only thing that interests me a tad bit, is the fact that, I guess maybe it could potentially be Travion as number 2, and number 3 is Chris Evans with Chase Brown, obviously rotational. We're going to probably most likely see all 3 of these guys kind of as a rotation. Now I'm thinking about it. I don't know. This will be interesting to see who becomes the number 2 running back. I don't think there really ever will be. I'll be honest with you. The fact that they kept 4 running backs really makes me believe that there always will be a rotation. Unless it will always be a rotation until Chase Brown takes the job. I think that's how it's going to be. Until Chase Brown shows that, yeah, he's the guy and, he's the number 2, I think right now it's going to be believed that eventually will be Chase Brown as the guy. But until then, it will be a rotation between all these guys. That's kind of how I look at it. All right. Next one, number 4, Sidney Jones also appears to be recovered from his hamstring injury. He's a valuable member of the practice squad with 2 rookies and a second-year player among the 6 cornerbacks on the 53-man roster. 100%. Let's be honest. We thought he was going to make the active roster. We thought there was no way in heck Jalen Davis would make the active roster. But with Sidney Jones getting hurt with the hamstring injury, and Jalen Davis honestly looking pretty dang good in preseason, it is what it is. That's just how football kind of, goes down. Whoever stays healthy and can stay healthy is going to make the active roster, and whoever gets hurt, sometimes they lose that spot. But it doesn't mean that they can't be activated. As Dan said here, a player can be activated 3 times throughout the year from the practice squad to the NFL roster. So it's very possible, someone gets hurt, there's some injuries, some setbacks, then yeah, we see Sidney Jones really come up and get that spot. Now again, anyone else could sign him for the NFL. It's not like we are, strictly keeping him on our squad. But again, like I said, it's very possible that, we end up actually promoting him at one time of the year. The last one we have here is it didn't take long for new practice squad quarterback Will Grier to arrive. In 3 preseason games with Dallas, the former West Virginia standout completed 76% of his passes with 4 touchdowns and a passer rating of 103.3. He was also the Cowboys' second leading rusher with 74 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, you guys definitely told me down below, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched too much of Will Grier and the, Cowboys highlights for preseason. You've been following the channel, I've been going crazy for preseason when it comes to everything possible for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm trying to look at every single detail and roster spot and who's the best, who's not the best, and breaking down all the statistics and stuff. But no, yeah, he definitely looks very, very good in preseason. Now again, he has never taken an NFL. Well, he has taken an NFL snap. I don't know why I said that in my last video. I don't know why I said that. He has. He's 0-2 in the NFL. He actually has for the Carolina Panthers. I think maybe one. I think it was 0-2. I'm gonna double check here just so I can correct myself. But anyway, though, yes. So he doesn't have much playtime experience. But he has actually played in the NFL. Currently, yeah, he is 0-2. He's played back in 2019. 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So, definitely was not the greatest experience, let's be honest. But overall wise, it is what it is. I mean, this is a new team. That could be a bad system. And to be honest, that Carolina Panther squad back in 2019, I don't think they were that good. Let me see. The 2019 Panthers, I think that was a year where everyone in NFC South sucked, right? Everyone was trash. They finished 4th in the NFC. So I don't really think, yeah, they finished 5-11. So I don't really think that was 1000% due to the fact of Will Grier not being a good player. Um, it was kind of a mix of Cam Newton was in there. He was 0-2. Kyle Allen's 5-7. They did have Christian McCaffrey, was pretty nice. They had Curtis Samuel, pretty nice. I mean, overall, they did have DJ Moore. I mean, that wasn't a bad squad. Like, on paper, Greg Olsen wasn't a bad squad on paper. It just did not work out in the end. Which sometimes, that happens in NFL season, let's be honest. Guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys in the next one.